And tonight we turn our attention to Saudi Arabia. Joining us to talk about Saudi Arabia is the British author and historian Robert Lacey. His latest book is Inside the Kingdom: Kings, Clerics, Modernists, Terrorists and the Struggle for Saudi Arabia. Robert Lacey, thank you very much for joining us on the programme.
Pleasure.
As Westerners, we tend to have very distinct assumptions, stereotypes, impressions, whatever you want to call them, about Saudi Arabia, the kind of society it is. What do you think Westerners would be most surprised by from, I mean, give us some insight. You've spent the last 3 years, if not more, in Saudi society. The
thing that surprised me was the role that women play in life and their power. I mean, there is a stereotype that Saudi women are suppressed, and they are. They can't drive, they can't vote, they can't take any independent decisions without their male in their life stamping it. But you go into to meet a Saudi, an important Saudi, for example, he says, no phone calls at all. If the phone goes and he picks it up, you know there's only one person who's rung him, not his wife, but his mother. Mothers have enormous power in Saudi Arabia, and it's a matriarchal society in some ways, but they can't drive.
But behind closed doors, it's a matriarchal society in terms of the rights and the equality that women in Saudi have gained. You're right, you were about to say that they can't drive. I mean, there's no mixed education if you go out in public. Do you still have to be escorted by a male or by your son?
It's funny. Men are not allowed to go into shopping malls if they're single men. There are security guards on shopping malls to keep out the single men so they won't molest the women or pick up women or make dates. And men will complain about that. And you then say to them, okay, so would you let your sister just go into a shopping mall to meet anybody? I mean, only families are allowed in, you see. Oh, no. I wouldn't allow my sister to date anybody that the family hasn't met or approved of. It's partly religious, but it's partly this great family emphasis. I mean, the whole country is a family business. It's the only country in the world named after its ruling family. It's Saudi Arabia. They made it, and they're the ones who profit from it.
One of the interesting things that you've reported on in your book is this controversial program by the Saudis to quote-unquote rehabilitate members of Al-Qaeda. Give us some insight into what this program is all about, and is it also giving some people the impression that perhaps Saudi is being soft on extremists and terrorists?
Some people say that. You know, some people call it the Betty Ford Clinic for extremists. They sit around and they talk about their problems. It's been a bit overdone by the press. The real hardcore terrorists are kept locked up. But the boys who are willing to be good, they take part in the course, they get a car, a job, they get a wife, because it costs about $18,000 to get married in Saudi Arabia. Not the party, but the bride price. But the idea is, it's not philanthropy, it's hard-headed matter of giving these kids a stake in society, making them, you know, when you're a family man, you know, maybe you think twice about becoming a suicide bomber.
Give us your sense of what you think the next generation of Saudi leaders is going to look like. Most of us, you know, are very familiar with King Abdullah. He's now 85 years old. What can we expect from the next generation?
I'm afraid very much more of the same. I mean, the Crown Prince Naif is almost that age. With this veneration for age and the seniority of the royal family, we're not going to see young men heading up Saudi Arabia for a long time, let alone young women. And all debates in Saudi Arabia are about the speedometer, how fast it should go. And King Abdullah's trying to push it fast.
All right, Robert Lacey, pleasure to see you. Thank you very much.
Nice to see you two again over this side of the pond.